Hello! Another collective reading at hand. Fun fact, after I did the last one that I uploaded here, TikTok gave me permission to upload 30-minute videos. So that's exciting. I always like the idea of trying to do like different readings across different platforms. Because I know there's some people who will find me on YouTube and some people who will find me somewhere else. Whatever message they need will be where it is. Okay, so we're coming out with Love and Light. And 2 paths ahead. They want one more. Oh, jeez. Y'all's guides are on it. Okay. Aligning your universe. Okay. I'm automatically hearing... They said it, love and light. Okay, so... The reason why they said it like that is because the idea that you're only supposed to be love and light is highly toxic. And they said a lot of people in this collective are coming to that realization. They are becoming very painfully aware that they've done a lot of shoving down how they really feel because they felt that keeping the peace or radical acceptance was the answer. They said acceptance is the answer, but not at the sake of yourself. And that's what was happening. People in this collective didn't really know it, though. Like, they thought they were acting with the best of intentions. And I mean, they were. There wasn't any malicious intent behind any of this. But the understanding now that not talking about these things, not having these feelings, not acknowledging them, not working through them, is doing more harm for yourself than good. It's doing more harm for the people around you than good. This is a really big collective, too, I'm hearing. Like, this is... Oh, God. This is happening for a lot of people right now. Yeah. The connection that we all have. So this is... It's many things. It's like they're showing me just the top of the pyramid finally. Like everything has been built, has finally peaked. Generationally, we have a lot of just new coming in with millennials and Gen Z. And then energetically, just the planet's been around long enough and we've had a lot of time existing in this state that the shift is happening. They wanted me to bring up there's a quote from Futurama. It's an episode where Bender meets God. It's kind of like a galaxy or whatever. And at the end of the episode, he says, if you do things right, people won't be sure that you've done anything at all. They wanted me to talk about trigger words when it comes to those of you who are kind of separating out the path ahead. Those of you that are realizing the spiritual side of or the toxic side of spirituality, and those who are like gonna find the balance, the part where you're like, I know where my line is now, I know what I'm willing to tolerate. There's a lot of trigger words in the toxic community. There's a lot of, ascension, 5D, these kinds of things trying to scare you. It's the same thing as the Christians talking about the rapture and the coming of Jesus. Like, it's the same kind of tactic to try to scare you into having their beliefs. So they wanted me to tell you that quote. If you do things right, people won't be sure you've done anything at all. Because that's how this progresses. There's every day, because the earth is so huge, there are things that are cataclysmic that do happen. Every day, people's lives are just like shook to the core all around us. But it's in pockets. It's never a complete world thing. And that's because that's just not how it works. It's a collective, but at the same time, we all have different goals. We all have different meanings. We all have different reasons for life. So they're asking you to think about the role that you play in this. They're asking you to think about, as an individual, what am I contributing to this planet? As a social species, what am I adding to society? They said that they wanted me to talk especially to the collective of people who are childless by choice. They said that a lot of you, first of all, they're sending congratulations. Because they said a lot of you making this choice that you made, they said some of it wasn't an easy choice to make. Some of it was really difficult, and you had to do a lot of soul searching and a lot of thinking about this. But they said they're proud of you for making that choice, because that in and of itself is healing the generational trauma that came before you. They said that while you're making the right choice for you, they want you to acknowledge that in and of itself is making the world a better place. There's a lot of this idea of, if you don't have children, what's your motivation for being here? And a lot of people would answer, to leave the world better than I found it. And so they wanted to talk to the childless boy choice people, because they wanted to let you know that even though you're not going to have anybody in your bloodline who's going to come after you, there's still going to be people who are going to be affected by your presence in their life. There's still going to be children who are affected by your presence in their life. They're still going to look at you and say, wow, like, this person made these difficult choices. They're working hard to be a better version of themselves, and they're going to be inspired by you. So don't be mistaken. Just because you don't pass on your blood lineage doesn't mean you're not passing on pieces of yourself. Belief. That's why it's so encouraged to believe in yourself. Oh my gosh, these cards over here. That's 4, 4, 4. My dog just opened my card. Believing in yourself is important because, they said that is a difficult, that there is a group of people in this collective who really, they feel like, well, I don't have kids, so like nobody's gonna see anyway, so like what's the point? There are people who see you. And even so, this inside, you're doing it for yourself, but it's also just kind of nice to have other people. To love is to be, or to know, to be known is to be loved. There it is. That's what they wanted me to say. Doing that shadow work. This card came out because it thinking through that thought process too. They said that the self-defeating talk surrounding that, like, well, nobody's going to remember me. I'm not really that memorable. So if I don't have kids, like, there's not going to be, like, that's a self-defeating narrative. And somebody else put that there. So the Shadow Self card wants you to look at that narrative. Why? Why do you feel like no one would remember you? Why do you feel like you don't mean something in somebody's life? They said be aware of your assumptions and be aware of your ruminations. Yeah. They said switching up that idea. Having the thought of, wow, okay, actually nobody in my life has ever told me that they're not interested in me. Nobody in my life has ever told me that I'm boring. Like, where did that thought come from? Having that revelation, revealing that information to yourself is going to revitalize everything that you've been working for. They said it's going to be like a breath of fresh air. A breath of fresh air coming into this new state and just realizing, oh, the call is coming from inside the house. They said that that's going to lead to a lot of abundance for you. They said right now it's going to be just emotional abundance. The amount of love that you're going to be able to feel for others is going to increase exponentially. The amount of love that you're going to be able to feel for yourself, that's going to increase exponentially. All of these things kind of piggyback on each other, and how you feel about yourself inevitably affects how you feel about other people, which inevitably affects how other people feel about you. It all, whether we like it or not, whether it's for good or bad, it's all connected. The deck that they wanted me to get out now was my little crystal deck, because they wanted to recommend some crystals. So the first one is Tangerine Quartz, and this card they're talking about the divine feminine. So it's Tangerine Quartz. Sorry, they're being obnoxious outside. Sorry, they're having fun. Tangerine Quartz, and they wanted me to talk about the sacred feminine aspect of yourself. Just the soft, loving, accepting, open. They said it's difficult when you kind of pass this threshold and realize, oh, it was me the whole time. There's this desire to not want to trust a lot of things, because you have these moments where you're like, well, if I couldn't even trust myself in that moment, like, what's legit and what's not. They said soften and give yourself some grace and understand that we all have facets of ourselves that we keep hidden, but it's self-preservation, and these things are always going to come to light when the time is ready. They're not always going to stay hidden. And they wanted me to use the quote, you'll never have more than you can handle. You're never going to be given more. They're not going to give a second grader a 10th grader's test. Like, they don't want you to fail. That's not the goal. So breathe in, breathe out, give yourself some grace, understand that it's going to be okay. The other crystal that they wanted me to talk about was Argonite. And they said this one was more masculine. This is more the part of yourself that has to intellectualize, see things from a realistic standpoint, has to be driven, has to, be forceful with situations, taking a lot of action. These two cards came out on both sides of the reading because their balance is the key with this. Balance is the next step that you're getting ready to take. And it's because you've had this realization that you're able to have this balance. If you wouldn't have come to the conclusion that you've come to about the whole, it's me putting up the walls, it's me making my life difficult. Now listen, they said, I'm not here to excuse other people's bad behavior. They said, we don't want you to take this as, oh, it's all me and everybody else is perfect, because absolutely not. There are still people around you who are toxic, and there are still people around you who don't make the best decisions that would echo out to other people around them. So we're not excusing other people's behavior, but this is just kind of tuning you into the idea that a lot of your suffering comes from just the thoughts in your mind, okay? We're not letting those people off the hook. Your feelings about them are valid. This is just a level of awareness increase for you. Observation. So they said as you're kind of breaking down these walls and as you're starting to go inward more and see how you view things, see how you view yourself, bring awareness to your thought patterns, your job next is to observe other people. After you've looked inside, after you've looked at yourself, after you've come to real conclusions and had real talks with yourself, the universe wants to let you in on a secret. You're not the only shitty person. All of us, because we are human, have tendencies to be shitty people. And it's just how it is. Shaming yourself for it, making yourself feel bad, hiding it for fear that others are going to judge you. If somebody's going to judge you for being a bad person or doing a bad thing, it's probably because they have shamed themselves as well. Nobody genuinely feels that way about you. It's just a societal thing. Be gentle with yourself through this. They said you give other people this gentleness and this love, and they're begging you to give it to yourself as well. They said you deserve it as much as anybody else. They wanted me to get out my little animal deck here. And we're going to do one more just for balance, one on each side here. Oh my god. Okay, so I've got resilience here on the feminine side. They showed me just the desire to want to close up. Like the second you start opening up and you're like, okay, I'm trusting, I'm believing. Nope, I'm okay, I'm trusting, I'm believing. That's part of the process. They said you're not going to open the door all the way first. They gave me like an image of somebody in like a really, really old house, and like the floors and the ceiling are all swollen and the door itself is swollen, and like the room is just packed full of stuff. And so like they're having to like shove the door open and like just all the sounds and obnoxiousness associated with all of that. But the door is opening. And even though it's slow progress, it's still progress. Your slow progress is still progress. Communing with ghost. This one's going on top of the shadow self card. You're going to have to take a realistic look at yourself. And a lot of times we don't want to do that because we have to face a lot of things that we're uncomfortable with. We have to face a lot of things that we did to other people, a lot of things that other people did to us, and we have to be able to navigate all of those emotions: anger, fear, sadness. All of those are heavy emotions. They're saying get you a support system. Even if you have to buy it, it's still a support system, okay? If you don't have anybody in your life that you can trust with heavy information, go pay somebody. There's somebody out there who would love to be able to be a safe spot for you, to talk things through, to understand things. Okay. We're going to do our little dice roll here at the end. So I do these little dice rolls and then I tell you the number and I let you go look it up because I want you to find the link that calls to you. I want you to listen to your guides and how they guide you. The guides be guiding. Okay, the number that we got, of course, was 411. And they wanted me to talk about, they said, what's the 411 when it came out? Talking about that deep dive, talking about that information gathering, talking about all that. So you can look it up, angel number, spiritual number, numerology number, whichever one you want, 411. Go find the link that calls to you. That's a direct message from your guides to you. I hope it helped.